Alright, this is the video for how to use the box cutter, the rotary cutter, the paper cutter, and the titanium scissors. So the first thing to realize is that I am on the 3D studio side or the craft studio side. All of my box cutters are stored inside this bin, and you'll notice that they are in the locked position. This is always have to be how they have to be returned in order for us to continue to use box cutters the next class time. The rotary cutter is also stored in this location, propped on the side. And then finally for the paper cutters, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna pivot for you, you're going over to the or over to the island that's floating in the center of the room for the different paper cutters. All right, let's go ahead and go back. So I'm at a table, the 3D studio side. I have a blue mat. The blue mats were located where I was also able to get my box cutter. The box cutters have a lock and unlock button. So when it is like this, this will move back and forth, and that is where my blade can come out. In order to keep it out, I have to push backwards on this little thing, and then now my blade is locked in place. I then need to inspect my blade. The tip should be there, and the whole thing should sparkle sharp. If it doesn't sparkle sharp, you would want to see that like little white edge. If that didn't appear, like towards the end of it, if it wasn't there, then I need to take it to the teacher to get a new blade put in. It's dangerous to work with an unsharp blade. I have to have a blue mat down, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a series of lines. So I have a ruler and a marker. I'm going to just draw a series of lines. My goal is to learn how to cut a bunch of straight lines, and then we're also going to put a curved line on here as well. Okay, for the box cutter, my hand is always away from where I'm cutting. I push the blade into the blue mat, and then I'm pulling the blade towards myself. This first cut is about being straight on top of the line. The second and third cut is about going ahead and putting some pressure on the blade, and that kind of first cut allows it to guide. Now see, I haven't cut all the way through, so I'm going to try again. Again, my hand is not behind the blade. This is what I'm looking for, a nice, solid, clean cut. Once I've been able to do that with the box cutter, I'm going to repeat this only with the scissors. I hold it in one hand, left-handed or right-handed. I'm using the inside of the blade. Oops, I was looking at the screen and not at my line. I'm looking for a nice, clean, over-the-top cutting, and there it is. This is what I am looking for with the scissors. If you aren't able to get it with either the box cutter or the scissor, try again. Now I'm going to use the rotary cutter on this line. So I'm going to go ahead and move all my stuff off. The rotary cutter can stay out at one tabletop in the 3D area or the craft area. Once I put the rotary cutter out, it is important to note that the side with the circle is where the blade always starts, okay? And then the side with the little line guide here is where your product goes if you're wanting to cut. And then you're wanting to have it stick out. So see how that line is right on the blue. You want it right on that edge. Then I just take the blade, pull it with me. One hand holds this in place, the other hand pulls the blade. By the way, this edge here is sharp, and then underneath here are spinning wheels, spinning. So never have your hand underneath. And it will slice right off. And that's a way to get a nice, clean cut. The next one we have is a curved line. You only are going to be able to cut curved lines with the scissors And what you want to do is you're working in the crux of the scissor, and you are twisting the chipboard, not your scissors. You'll also notice that I'm separating the chipboard here. Let's see if you can see it like that. See how I'm letting one go on one side on the up, and one's going down. And you'll notice I'm on the edge. This would never work if I was trying to cut in the middle of a piece of chipboard. So I'm just seeing if I can get this to go. And your hands, they're gonna start to hurt. And the reason they're gonna hurt is because this muscle right here, many of you are missing. See, look, see how I have a big muscle? Many of you have no muscle. So it hurts because you're actually building hand muscle, not because you're like damaging your hand. So this is what you're looking for, a nice clean cut. All right, we are gonna transition to the paper cutter. So, not gonna fall down. This is your paper cutter. Oops, sorry. And it's important with your paper cutter that you already have the line drawn. You're gonna lift up. There's a little safety right here, so I've already unlatched it. So it starts like this. Click the safety, lift it up. Now, that's a blade. Be serious about that blade because it can chop your finger off. So you slide in your chipboard. Your hand is always on the left holding it in place. Your other hand is always on the lever, and then we're gonna scooch back so you can watch how this goes. So then, holding this with one hand, never underneath that little safety, I push in slightly this way with the blade, and then I lock down. I would never do that with a friend standing here because, for serious, Miss Green is missing part of her pinky. I also have a little guy that does the exact same. Lift up, slide in, push a little bit in, and chop down. You got to do a little more grit on this one. And this guy, he is less likely to damage your finger. That will get you a nice clean cut. Your job is to make sure to keep all of your pieces that you've worked on today, because remember, you're gonna have to document your learning, and so you'll need these. It's helpful to go ahead and label them, like this was cut with the paper cutter, this was cut with the titanium scissors, so that you know which product were you able to get the best cut from.